Hello and welcome to another extremely fast episode of Weekly Deathmatch. In this episode we got matched into a game which was already halfway through and I sucked really miserably, and so I decided to really quickly speed this up, and this is going to be the entire video, and it really sucks and I'm really annoyed with it, and it's really frustrating because this was like the third game I tried to get into and it was really sucky and I just kept dying and it was really annoying and I couldn't even play well in games which were full. Okay, yeah, that's not what we're doing. I decided for kicks just to fast forward through this like fucking it wasn't even 5 minute, it was like 2.5 minute match. And it really fucking frustrated me because basically I queued for a match and it was awful, and then I queued for another match with completely different players because there were some ridiculous snipers in my previous group of players and I got matched into this one, and then in the next match we got mercy ruled within a couple of minutes. So we're playing Unreal Tournament instead. I figure we need a break from Destiny anyway, don't we? I've been putting out Destiny weekly death matches a fair few times recently. Besides that though, Unreal Tournament 99 also kind of feeds into the... Oh, and by the way, I'm quite rusty because I haven't played it in a few months. But it also feeds into the kind of subject matter I'm talking about here because this week, what I've mostly spent my time doing, and you may notice has been, apart from the fantastic and extra long episode of Destiny 2 for Shadowkeep Shenanigans, Volume 6. I'm actually quite pleased with that video. Apart from that, there hasn't been too much in the way of edited stuff going out or live streams or anything like that. I guess maybe it's been just slightly less than average, but it's because I've been focusing most of my time in a personal project which I am calling the Tombstone project. And basically, it's kind of morbid when you think about it, but when you die, you're dead. Obviously. And what you leave behind are memories and then whatever you've like done and whatever you've made and whatever you've written. And that's the concept behind a lot of people's memoirs, and I'm not going full memoir, but I've decided to collect all of my old writings that I can find together in one place, and then when I'm done doing that, I'm going to move forward by making a monthly blog post series, basically saying my October, my November, my December, this is what I did this month. This is where my head's at this month. Kind of like, I used to do weekly blog posts, this is basically just going to be monthly blog posts. But it will be maybe slightly more candid about my life, I don't know, I'm still kind of working that bit out. But it's definitely all going to feed back into the Tombstone project. And basically if I wasn't writing monthly blog posts, I'd be writing monthly journal posts inside that thing. And the idea is that when I die, hopefully a long time from now, 60 years or so, that the Tombstone project will be kind of what I leave behind. And I know it's kind of weird to be thinking about that at the age of 24, but firstly, you can die whenever, and secondly, fucking, I don't know man, like the earlier you do it from, the more stuff is still available, the more interesting I suppose it'll be, but that is assuming that people are gonna want to read hundreds of pages of my inane fucking ramblings. And I always like to think of like the weekly deathmatch and other videos I make and like my Twitter profile and all of this stuff as stuff that I would leave behind if I died. But when you think about it, the internet could go away. Those websites could close down, these videos could be deleted, and ultimately there could be not a whole lot left of what I've spent a lot of my life doing. So I decided, looking ahead, looking very, very, very far ahead, hopefully very, very far ahead, to do this. And it's kind of weirdly brought me a bit of peace of mind, but also it's just kind of fascinating to me to be going back and finding all of these old ramblings of mine. For instance, I'm currently in the middle of archiving all of my, or not all of my, but most of my Perpetually Perturbed blog posts, which is a blog I started when I was 18 in university, primarily focused on talking about my life during university and writing and all of that stuff. And it's super interesting because I agree with like 80% of what I was saying. Like almost every blog post there is one thing which I read and go, not sure I'd say that nowadays, or not sure I think that way anymore, kind of a thing. But but still, as a greater point, I can kind of see where I was going with it, and I understand. I agree mostly with that kind of thinking. But yeah, it's cool, and I'm not putting every single thing I've ever done in this Tombstone project because, I don't know, like, I've got to moderate it somehow, and some stuff is just like, oh, you know, there's no blog post this week because of this reason, or maybe it's something that, like, I just didn't write very well, or that isn't specifically saying a lot about me as a person. That's why I'm not doing my gaming blog post, because it's more about games than it is about me. But I'm including a lot of stuff, and it's not something I would ever expect anyone to go back and read all the way through. It's just something that I don't know, I feel like there is a saying that goes, and I saw it recently, I saw it after I started this project, but it goes something along the lines of, every man has two deaths. When they, no longer, I forget how the quote goes, but basically when you actually die, when you no longer breathe, and the last time someone mentions your name. And obviously, nothing's permanent. Eventually the sun will expand and destroy the earth, and if I've printed this out somewhere and it's kept in some place, I'm sure it would then get burned up and disappear. But it seems kind of, is megalomaniacal the right word? Kind of egotistical in a way, kind of very self-absorbed project, but I don't know, it's just kind of fun for me to do and think about, and I'm always thinking about all of this stuff anyway, so it's just what I've basically been doing with my week, and I will go more into detail on it, or I guess there's not much else to say about it, but I'll probably write about it at the end of this month in my first monthly blog post, so I'm very much looking forward to doing that. And I know saying that you're going to write something every month for the rest of your life is a pretty fucking massive statement, but firstly, I have kind of proven to myself that I can keep up a weekly schedule, so monthly should be a lot easier over a long period of time. And secondly, I'm also going to give myself leeway on this, so if I miss a month, that's fine. It's not like I'm going, god damn it, I've got to write this thing now. If I've got nothing to say, I've got nothing to say, and there won't be one that month. So yeah, that's pretty much my thinking on that. But anyway, normally I talk about games, so let's talk about games. I played a little bit of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm trying to utilise my Xbox Game Pass a bit more, because I do pay for it every month and I hardly play it. I want to try Riverbond at some point. Actually, I have a whole list of games I want to try, but Riverbond is next on my list. And I am very excited that The Outer Worlds is coming to Game Pass when it releases next week. I think it's next week. I'm also very excited for Medieval. I don't know if I'll buy it, because I'm trying to be a bit more cautious with money, just because I don't think it's a good idea to be like, fuck it, every time I see something I want, which I guess I'm not like anyway, but whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I'm interested in Medieval, and given the fact that I want to try lots more Game Pass games, with the thinking of it's okay if I just play them for a few hours and never come back to them again, because if I get a few hours of enjoyment out of it, it's all from the same kind of Game Pass money anyway. That was a run-along sentence. You might be seeing more miscellaneous shenanigans videos, where I just have 4 or 5 clips of a particular game and then move on to the next game and stick a bunch of those together. I doubt Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've played up to, I would say, the end of the introduction portion of the game, which if you've ever played it, you'll probably understand what's going on. The big story beats just happened. It's probably even not much of a spoiler, because I think they kind of used it to advertise the story of the game. It's in reviews and all of that stuff, but I've got to that point. I don't know if I'll pick it up again. It's one of those, I mean, I've not really got into the meat of the game, but I did try a bit of combat and I'm not a huge fan of it. It's very, I guess you can probably master it, but it's very tough to grasp. I lost a fist fight, but then I went back and won the fist fight, but then because of that I'd already lost my objective. I didn't really get to win it again. But yeah, I don't know, it is interesting. I think it's quite well made. And yeah, I may or may not revisit it, I don't know. It's one of those games where it's like, you have to be in the right mindset to play it, I guess. Also, I've been playing some more Skyrim, and there might be my first ever Adventures in Skyrim video coming out soon. I've got 20 clips. I like to have kind of like 30 clips for a video like that though, so I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of this video. It's been a bit all over the place, so thanks for sticking with me, and I will see you next week. Unless I die, in which case, look forward to the Tombstone project.